one of the highest income from the province of Valencia is not orange, it's cars. Cars, because one of the biggest car factories in Europe from Ford is here in Valencia. So you can visit in Almusafes, it's one of the biggest, and you can visit. So car manufacturers are also here in Valencia. Therefore, it's a very nice place to speak about manufacturing. And to speak about manufacturing, how can I present Thomas Hahn? Everybody knows him. He's not only working by Siemens, but he is also board director of Gaia-X and, of course, president of IBERIA. Thank you, Thomas, to be here.
Not working? No? Oh, now it's working. Perfect. Thanks a lot. I have at the beginning a bad message for you and a good message. Let's start with a bad message. Between the cocktail dinner, I think after this, we four are in between. So treat us well, so that you again in time to the cocktail dinner. The good message is we are also thirsty. So we will keep in time and trying to make it until 6 plus minus some minutes. So what we are doing, we make a short presentation, everybody, and then we have a super short panel about all four. I will start a little bit giving a short overview about our project, about our offerings from the company. When I'm looking to Laurent, for example, what we are doing. I will speak a little bit about manufacturing, is a little bit what we are doing in, you mentioned manufacturing, car producing, biggest one. You know, we have also then with Pep, a person here taking care of the Catena-X hub in Spain. That's good. I will speak a little bit as overachieving topic about manufacturing, what is driving us on we are addressing this. And then we have EuProGigant with Wolfgang speaking about a project which is between, I think, Germany and Austria and Germany, vice versa, when I know it correctly, but I will explain it later. And then we have Laurent speaking about Dawex and a little bit about, from the shop floor, from the assembly line, how to connect this and what are the opportunities are. But let's start a little bit, and somebody told this before, let's start with the impact point. When you're speaking about the manufacturing project or the manufacturing initiatives, you have first to look at the right side here from the screen, what you want to achieve. I think, and we are formalizing this always in three pillars: resilience, supply chain. I expect that in the Catena example, you will raise a topic because Catena is looking very carefully of the supply chain, traceability, product carbon footprint along the supply chain about this. Second issue is the sustainability. I mentioned this before with product carbon footprint, because when we handle this, we can do something for us, for our environment. Or when we're speaking later, Laurent, we can touch this on the battery passport. When you know how a battery is produced, used, you can recycle up to 94% of the ingredients, thinking about how many rare materials in the battery. And last but not least, competitiveness with the data ecosystem. We are looking also in different new applications like industrial AI, to have some kind of industrial co-pilots to get value out of the data, to optimize this, all the topics behind this. Also meaning this is driving us, and who is driving this? You see here in circle about different domains, different verticals in the manufacturing area, and only to keep it a little bit more visible, you see here the projects which we are running. This is coming from Catena. I will not touch it in detail. Factory, machine tool industry, there's Catena is a BMW behind, Factory X is a Siemens and SAP behind. Aerospace, they have also now struggling sister project in France, is Catena-X, I think, mentioned, which is Airbus behind. Then we have robotic, semiconductor with Intel, health, with energy, company handling securities behind, chemical with BASF. Also meaning we have a bunch of different manufacturing related projects. And what is important for us, we are looking at two dimensions. All the projects which you see in the middle are some kind of use case driven, that I mentioned before, with the traceability, with the carbon footprint, with the product passport. You can go on. But we are looking what are joint services or shared services, What is the technology base is on one side, and we're looking also how we can scaling up. And I think especially with Wolfgang, we can touch a little bit how we can achieve a scaling, because in manufacturing domain, and I think the same is in Spain, it's not a Siemens, not an ABB or somebody else of the world. This is 80–90% is covered from small and medium-sized enterprises. So when it solves this, then we have a big topic. You know, in this case, I would be super fast. You know, I mentioned this as a layer before. I mentioned this the above to create impact. I mentioned not directly a little bit of the business cases, business models, and I mentioned here one of the use cases, and you see here some kind of clusters when you're looking at the different manufacturing projects, which I mentioned before. All are somehow touching all these clusters and for sure having some kind of specifica depending what is needed in their verticals. And we want to look and to make it on an international level because, you know, don't ask me how many percentage of our supply chain are international. At least our business is to a very high percentage in manufacturing international, and also the supply chain. For sure, we're doing more regarding resilience, but nevertheless, some of the material, like mentioned in a battery, is coming from somewhere else. So what we have done, and I would start with this one here first. Therefore, we are established for the international aspect and cooperation. Where you see here, we have from the Americas, from the Europe, from Asia, different regions involved inside. And here's a journey. I think Oscar is also well known here in this round. I think Oscar Lazzaro. We started in Belgium, in Brussels, a first meeting with the international partners and rolling up. And what we are looking is, what are the joint standards? How a DPP framework can look at a digital product passport, can look like in an international way, how we are doing this, what are some kind of interoperability standards, respecting that you have regional or also vertical specifica, which you have to reflect. And you know, when you're speaking I'm a manufacturing guy, when you're speaking about discrete manufacturing, you have to look to other standards, like in a regulated manufacturing environment or in a process industry environment, where you have also to look maybe when you're producing gas or some kind of explosive material. So you have to completely other topics. Therefore, we looked also in so-called export to look how we can set a framework, an integration framework about which can cover agnostic to different standards over the different levels. You know, in the discovery and access level, trust framework will play an important role, but then you're looking really to the gate and converter and adapter level, where you have a little bit more widespread of applications. But I think, Laurent, I know you are touching this later, because this was one topic which we have shown at Hannover Fair regarding a battery passport, an international battery passport, where we're from Asia, from the US, from France, from Spain, from Germany, Japan, you know, exactly collected data to have, let's say, a joint battery passport, which is not working when you have not some kind of agnostic integration architecture. So that's all from my side, only to set a little bit the flavor. And now I think, Wolfgang, you are next. Yes, right. And here, thanks God you are here. I thought I'd have to take over. And after the next two presentations, we'll make a super short panel. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much, Thomas. Hello, welcome, dear survivors of the very interesting event. I'm talking a little bit about EuProGigant, but I don't want to introduce the project in detail because the project is known. We are a lighthouse project since many, many years. It's a binationally funded project from the Austrian and German government for the manufacturing sector. And the project ends now at the end of this month. And now the question for all of us is, how do we continue? How do you make all the good achievements of the project sustainable? How can we start an operational unit that is running the ecosystem that was developed, the technology, technical architecture, fully Gaia-X compliance, and so on and so on. And this is what I want to address here. And it's very important for us that we understood from the beginning that it's not only about technical development. Yeah, from the beginning, we accompanied the project with business modeling. We did a very deep stakeholder analysis, and we found out that there's a very heterogeneous stakeholder network. It's not only manufacturing companies like startups, SMEs, mid-caps, corporates, and the SMEs were highlighted by you, Thomas. This is very important to address it to them, what benefits they might get out of the collaboration and data sharing. There are more stakeholders around, governments, academia, manufacturing associations. We have the big cloud providers that have an interest to work with us. We have the telecommunication companies, and so on and so on. And for all those stakeholders, we did a value proposition canvas. How do they benefit from providing data or consuming data out of our ecosystem? And we have drawn then the business models for very different use cases that we applied when we built the technical architecture. So it was not built out of the blue. It was built alongside real use cases coming from different manufacturing industries and manufacturing segments. And we started originally with 4 use cases. This was a project application which was accepted and funded. In the meantime, we are at more than 25 use cases where we get results out. And we said, how do we organize the process? How do we set it all up that SMEs find us? Yeah, data consumers, data providers find us, get onboarded, get their verifiable credentials, get access to the catalog, understand the catalog, go into data exchange, and so on and so on. And what is the legal entity structure under all these different regulations that are influenced, like the Data Governance Act, which does not allow an entity which is orchestrating data exchange to make money with data-related services. And these were all necessary tasks, so that the development of the technical architecture, of course, was an important step in the project. But for me now, to make it sustainable in the future, it's really a minor aspect. And I want to stop talking about technology. I want to start talking about business. And this is what we do now. So we developed the business plan, and we will start the operating entity in 2026. And the operating entity will follow this process, of which I think the 2 different layers here are already understood, are already covered. Yeah, I've seen so many slides in Gaia-X events where we talked about participant credentials, catalog services, exchange services. But what we did not talk about how do we onboard smoothly and seamlessly the users. How does an SME find us? They will not start with access to a wallet or whatsoever, or applying somewhere for verifiable credentials. They will say, here, I have interest. So where do they land? That's a very important question which has to be addressed. Who is responsible in an organization to buy or to sell data? Yeah, there are responsibility levels. There are procurement processes. Those are documented in ERP systems. Why don't we load the data, the information from the ERP systems into our onboarding platforms? So this is something that has to be done if we want to be market-oriented, customer-oriented, data consumer and data provider-oriented. And what we also did, we asked, what are the value propositions? We know all the technical value propositions provided by the Gaia-X framework. Yeah, we talk about interoperability, trustworthiness, secure data transfer, safety, and so on and so on. Transparency, we know all this, but we have to talk about the business values. So we have to look into the use cases and understand how a participant in our ecosystem can unlock the potential to generate revenues, how a participant in our ecosystem can benefit from efficiencies resulting out of data sharing, efficiency in energy management, saving scrap in the production, saving time, having shift optimization, feeding AI algorithms with federated learnings. These are all values that can be created. And this is what we have to discuss. How do the SMEs, the core of our GDP, of our grand national products, of our wealth, in the economies, how do they benefit from those values and comply to even upcoming regulations, standards? How can we help them use data sharing and data cooperation to reduce the ecological footprint, or to transparently talk about the ecological footprint, to load digital product passports with exactly this information? How can we increase the flexibility through data sharing in value chains that maybe are newly established, be moved back into Europe to be more resilient, independent from geopolitical threats, and so on and so on. So there are many, many things that have to be discussed, not on the technology basis. And this is what is going on now in EuProGigant. This is what we are going to do now. And this is part of the business modeling. So we developed the business models for all different use cases. And we developed the business models for a federating unit, for an orchestrating unit that is going to be established to run this system. And this is all documented. If I would start to talk about it, I would need 90 minutes. But it's all documented in the white paper that we published. Here's the link. Everybody can download it. It's for free. Yeah, we want to leverage the knowledge that we gained, and I think more in the follow-up discussion. Thank you very much.
Perfect, many thanks. Pep, you are heading the Catena-X hub in Spain, and we heard just before the importance of automotive industry here, especially in this city.
Thank you, Thomas. Hello, everybody, and I'm the same page like my colleague, saying that thank you for keeping the attention, and we can talk further in the cocktail for sure. Let's go for it. I'm here also to explain about the hub of Catena-X here in Spain. I guess all of you know what's Catena-X, right? And it's the first data space with the aim of being across value chain, multi-tier in the sector of automotive. And we are here, the ambassadors in Spain, to bring all the standards, all the learnings, all the guidelines into Spain. The hub in Spain is led by the two main associations here, Cernauto, which is the main association for suppliers, and FAC, the association for car producers, and also composed by a core team who is helping to put all these guidelines, all these possibilities and these capabilities into a pragmatic way in our market, right? Which is Seat and Cupra, the OEM, the brand from the group Volkswagen, has stamped as a key and strategic partner for the main OEMs here in Spain and beyond, obviously, and a tier one supplier, Mondragon, which is also a very relevant company, corporation here in Spain, with this particularity of being a corporation with cooperatives. So the capillarity of Mondragon is also good to have on board in the Spanish hub, and T-Systems, where I am working in, as the technology partner, right? This is the Spanish hub, and as I said, and also fully agree with Ruth, the General Director of Data of the Ministry of Digital Transformation, about being pragmatic. So we need to put all these in place in the Spanish market and let the whole ecosystem participate, be involved, and assure that they will be engaged in identifying all the use cases to be implemented in the hub. So my first here ask to the audience, if there is any supplier, any company belonging to the automotive sector, just join us. We have everything in place. We have way to go, and then very prepared in mainly, I would say, and highlighting what you mentioned, Thomas, regarding the transparency in the supply chain, efficiency and resilience, sustainability, and data sovereignty, which is some big concern for the entire market here in Spain. This is a bit the governance model, where, as I said, Cernauto and ANFAC are leading and coordinating all the activity. The core team, Gestamp, SEAT, Mondragon, and T-Systems, which are defining the way to engage the rest of the industry. Obviously, having Cernaut and ANFAC is clearly door openers for the entire market, so good to have them leading all this initiative and trying to get all the possibilities and cases that from the market can be taken into the hub and into Catena-X. In that sense, we have been creating from the systems the way in 4 pillars to allow all the companies on board easily. Let's say 4 pillars. First of all, the onboarding guidelines, be very clear on what is all that about. So it's important to have clarity on the words that we have been listening all day long in regards of sovereign data, federated data, interoperability, and many others relevant questions that companies are asking. So the second pillar is the business value. So what's your business purpose for identifying specific use cases that you can implement in Catena-X, and what's the ecosystem you want to deal with, right? Another relevant question to me is also, this is not a one-way consideration and collaboration, is bi-directional. So everybody collaborate with everybody, is radical collaboration in that sense. So everyone needs to do its own business case, no, to go and to move forward. The third pillar is related to technical enablement, knowing about the technology, the platform, having clear assessment about the readiness of the company to go and to move forward, knowing about my own data, all the integration process that I have to take in place. And the last pillar is related to the organizational enablement. This is something about also affecting to the talent, the skills of the company, and also a relevant impact in cultural aspects, right? That was a bit our timeline. This is a picture taken from the November 24, where the official presentation of the Spanish hub with all the companies that belong to the core team and leading the Spanish hub. We have clarity on the steps that we have been taking. Also the collaboration with the Ministry for Digital Transformation, the coordination with the Competence Center, which is also located in Spain, providing also awareness on technology topics around Catena-X. And we are clear on the next steps. This is communication, this is attract companies, help to onboard them, ask them to join the Spanish hub, and also look for potential collaboration with the Ministry of Digital Transformation. Obviously, companies are with some concerns in how to move forward. I think one relevant thing is money, as always, and so that's a good thing, and it's helpful and good to know today from Ruth about this last package of data space kit, which can help the companies to move forward in that sense. Currently, we are in 2 projects in the Spanish hub. One is with Mondragon, which is looking for this collaboration within all these net of cooperative companies. And the second one is Gestamp, the tier 1, and SEAT. This is a proof of concept where they want to test all the technology, all the capabilities and possibilities around digital supply chain control tower. Really interesting thing affecting to many stakeholders. And we are just in the point of being able to close this proof of concept. So happy to say that it's working, and that's good to go. So this is it. Thank you very much for your time, and let's go for the panel.
So I'm very happy to be here today. So in 2 minutes, quick slide. My focus today is to explain what we have learned of 2 years program in France called Data for Industry X. Is one of the major projects to learn how to build data spaces in the industry for the manufacturing teams. And we start the explanation with a factory, a shop floor of Valeo, a leader in the automotive industry. So the assembly line, we have to collect data. So we use very well-known in the industry OPC-UA protocol to collect data and to exchange it thanks to sensor deployed by Schneider Electric. Then we collect all the information on a local cloud in the factory for each machine and assembly line, thanks to asset administration shell server, also very well known in the manufacturing industry. And we expose this data thanks to API, connector, extra. So what we have learned about use cases, focus on sustainability and CSRD reporting is how to implement an industry data space thanks to the building blocks coming from the all these standards, so trusted data transaction coming from Gaia-X, data space protocol, OPC UA, decentralized connector, asset administration shell extra, and to be ready for Data Governance Act and Data Act European regulation. And what we have learned is to build some application for grabbing the data for 140 factory in the world from Valeo to the headquarters of the company, thanks to also the data coming from suppliers. And what we demonstrate 1 month ago in Hannover Messe is what you explained about LNI, the way to share information to enrich digital product passport about the use of battery, thanks to Valeo data coming from the car. And between Catena-X, data for Industry X, and a Japanese data space. So my purpose is mainly to explain that now we know how to build industry data spaces. It's very well documented thanks to the working group of Gaia-X, of Data Space Support Center, etc. But now the question is how we decrease the cost to deploy it for SMEs and how to deploy a decentralized connector and agent in the industrial SMEs. It's a complexity because today it's cost a lot, and our objective is to decrease to a few euros per year per SMEs in the industry to scale this kind of industry data space, because it's a major barrier today, the cost to deploy this decentralized agent. Thank you very much.
And now, as promised, only missed one. Ah, yeah, sorry. Very short, 2-3 questions. I start with Pep. You know, Catena-X is somehow known as a running data space, also in a widely distributed. What are the main challenges which you have faced and you are still facing?
Okay. Yeah, then I would say that the main challenges are, I was saying at the beginning that we need to explain quite well what is that all about, right? And first of all, the awareness of the companies need to be very clear at any level. Maturity, the impact in the business, the technology, all these type of things need to be very clear. Secondly, I would say that probably not the big companies, but the rest of the companies, mid-size and small size companies, they are a bit afraid of sharing a lot of data. Also, big companies don't want to share many data, and specifically if they may impact the business. I think like we need to create this trust, saying that this is not only the big fish asking data to the small fish, but in the opposite, so they can take the best out of it, not only for the big companies, but also the smallest one. So we need to evangelize in that sense. We need to convince that this is something available. There's new capabilities that they can take advantage of. And so just trust it and let's do it. Get some funding if possible, and then go ahead.
Okay, many thanks. Maybe I just heading over to Laurent. You mentioned the battery passport demonstrator. When you mentioned you connected from Valeo data, France, Japan, Catena, and so on. What was the main challenge? Different versions, incompatibility between the data description, or what you have faced in this demonstration?
So first thing, manufacturing was a way to have all the participants to share experience on industrial data spaces. And of course, how to enrich a digital product passport, you have to define the digital product passport, but also you have to understand what kind of protocol you are using. That's why I mentioned all these protocols coming from the industry, and that's a key topic and common topic between all the data spaces. And the second topic is how to enrich with high-value data coming from each data spaces. So, of course, all these kind of data spaces are not really mature to implement all the stuff of trust, but it was not only the question of trust, it was a question to enrich data and digital product passport. So when you use standards and when you use the foundation of interoperability between data spaces, it could begin to do it, and what we have demonstrated, it was okay, and it was really productive.
Yeah, okay, it was a demonstration. So maybe just over handing to Wolfgang, and you highlighted also the small and medium-sized enterprise topic, and Laurent gave a great offer. Is it sufficient, this 1,000 euro per year, or we have to do more? And what is about the trust issue? Gaia-X is offering a trust framework. What should be done?
I could be short and say definitely we have to do more when we address this to SMEs. But as said, we are in a luxury situation that we have an established technical architecture. The trust framework exists. Yeah, and we can shine with the technical USPs, as it was said. But I have to convince the SMEs where the values are. I have to convince them to participate. And we are in the area of digital transformation in all sectors. We have the corporates that hire their innovation scouts, look for technologies, can innovate processes, activities. The corporates have innovated. The SMEs did not innovate yet in the required scale. And if we are at the stage, at the given point of time, when we have innovated, when we are fully in the process of digital transformation in manufacturing, then we stand in a situation where we are in the middle of digitalized environments. Yeah, we are swimming in data, and we don't make use out of this data. This is the issue, and this has to be communicated to the future participants. Make use out of this data. And there can be two directions to unlock potential. I either can use the data that I create in my environment to generate additional revenues, or I can use the data that I create to generate additional efficiencies. But when you today knock at the door of an SME and say, okay, now you have the chance to unlock the potential, we have this great architecture, go into data sharing, then as an answer you get the typical German question with 2 digits, huh? Yeah, we have to demystify the sector. We have to talk about the benefits. We have to talk business. This is why I said we focused on the use cases. This is of utmost importance. And there's one more thing, if I may, to add. We are in the advantage that all players in many, many sectors have to react to upcoming regulations. And this is a force which plays us towards achieving our goals. Because if SMEs and corporates want to comply to regulations, they have to gather data, and they have to report the data, make data transparent. So why not using the trust framework of Gaia-X, provide template services, or what kind of infrastructure to feed those reporting templates about meeting CO2 emission requirements, about complying with the Supply Chain Act, with the AI Act, and so on and so on. Why not providing those templates, feeding them with data gathered out of the manufacturing process, and simplify the life of the companies? Make the SMEs not reporting, but make the SMEs just meeting the requirements, which easing the daily activities of an SME. So there are more benefits that Gaia-X can bring if we think about services that can be offered in the future.
Okay, many thanks. And now to everybody from you, 2 sentences are allowed to answer. And also, you can start if you want, but I will ask first. First of all, what do we need to really have really scaling up solutions? What is from you the most important topic? And what is the wish for Ulrich? Or what do you recommend from Ulrich?
Yeah. And it is a good question, meaning that in our goal is to scale the adoption of in that case, Catena-X. And so, and we have been working on a plan to get, first of all, the companies associated to the main associations, Laurent and AMFAC, with a clear plan on get them involved, put things easily in place. At the end, it's something that we need to facilitate this adoption, and we can help them by showing the results of the POCs that we are running. Also, we put in place methodology, standards, and trying to help.
And what is the wish for Ulrich? You are sitting here, you can address directly. What is the wish what you have to Ulrich from the CEO from Gaia-X?
No, I think it's a way of providing the right standards to execute, right?
Okay, good. Laurent, scaling and wish for...
Yes, for scaling, you have to learn. And so I think the program launched by Gaia-X, Gaia-X Academy, is very important because it's a way to create adoption, large adoption, and not to be with a few specialists of the topic of trust framework, but it's the same for data space protocol. We have to learn and to disseminate a lot, and that's already the mission of Gaia-X, so I encourage the initiative.
Okay. And famous last words for you, Wolfgang.
Yes, thank you. I think for scaling up, I see it in 2 different directions. One is we have many, many different data ecosystems now. Yeah, and we have many in health, we have many in agri-tech, we have many in manufacturing, and so on and so on. We should develop a common understanding how to create organizations that orchestrate the data exchange. Call them federator, call them orchestrator, call them managing organization, but we really don't have the concepts for them. Yeah, we need to think about their sustainability, how they are from a personal point of view, from a financial point of view, from an organizational point of view, running, orchestrating data ecosystems in the future. And not only one, not one for EuProGigant and one for the next and one for the next, but maybe sector specific. Yeah, this is something that we need to scale. And we need to scale, this is the second sub-point, the messages to the participants of the ecosystems, how they can benefit from data sharing, how they can unlock the potential for revenues, for efficiency, for cost savings, and so on and so on. This should be a joint effort. And having this said, this is on my wish list for Gaia-X ASPL. Yeah, let us do this together. Let's go and market what we have done so far, but not from a technical point of view, from a business point of view. Yeah, and I'm fully behind this.
Perfect. So many, many thanks. Now we are all ready for the drinks. Many thanks also to stay with us and enjoy the drinks which were offered from Mulrich. Oh. Okay, thanks a lot.